Evening, Borough fans. Welcome to Monday Night Social here at Joker's Bar tonight with Foxy and Guesty. You alright, lads?
Yeah, good, yeah.
Okay. And Rob on camera. I was away last week, so it was a little treat from Rory the Tiger. There's one gone.
Sunderland colours.
There you go. And there's one for you and all, Rob.
He's got two for AJ.
Don't say I don't do anything. Yeah, there's two left as well.
Two for AJ.
Just fitting in with that, the Borough keep rocking along, progress in the Cup, in the League Cup with the youngsters. Victory at Bristol City on Saturday keeps us top of the table. There's also been developments in the last few hours with regards to transfers. Looks as though Balassi and Besic are on the way in, fingers crossed. We've also got the matter of the big game with West Brom, reunion with Tony Pulis this Friday night. So there's loads to talk about, Borough fans. We're going to be chatting about that. We'd love your input as well. Love you to get in touch with us with any of your thoughts or views. So first of all, Foxy, I'll come to you. With regards to those two players we've mentioned from Everton, where do you think they'd fit in if they do come here?
I think they would be great additions. Obviously, we know all about Besic. Balassi, if he can stay fit, was £26 million season ago, so that tells you everything you need to know. I don't think he's in Silver's plans because he can't get fit quick enough. When they've hit the ground running, haven't they, Everton? But Balassi would be a brilliant sign. I've also heard about Puncheon maybe coming as well. And Luke Freeman from QPR after their debacle on Saturday against West Brom. But you know, so I think they would be. I think that would be now we're talking about a real squad to win this to win the league. Then I think there's only really Stoke in this division for me with a really mind-busting squad. West Brom are good too, but they can't get results. They can't find an 11.
Yeah.
So I think we'd be frightening.
Yeah. You happy at the prospect, Guesty, of these lads coming in?
Yeah, like you said, Balassi. It does give us something different.
Yeah.
Maybe I hope it doesn't go more towards to what we had when Traore was here, where we become one-dimensional again. Because, like you say, everyone's chipping in with goals at the moment, and the movement, it's free-flowing. Everybody's getting involved. So I don't know where Pulis is going to manage to fit them in because, like you say, we've got 2 games left in the league this month.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see Pulis stick with the 11, which he's been using all month.
Yeah.
These players coming in, it makes me wonder where it's going to leave Fletcher and Tav and Wing.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him stay at the club.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to see him getting loaned out again because we've brought loanees in. But like you say, it just makes the bench look a lot better. And like you say, Besic, we know he can start now with 11.
Competition.
And that's what I was saying to James earlier. Maybe these guys on Saturday have seen what's been going on at Rockcliffe, seeing these players coming in, and they've lifted their game on Saturday because the performance was absolutely unbelievable from every one of them.
Yeah. And I think, like you say there, credit to Pulis and those players that have started the season because I think it's easier to attract players when you're at the top of the table, you're doing well. The club looks a different proposition than, say, a team that had only picked up 2 or 3 points from the first 4 games. People say, well, don't want to go to them, they're a club in crisis. Those lads, who some of them might know within a week or 2, they're not going to be in the first 11. They've still produced on a Saturday, haven't they?
And obviously the likes of Balassi, who must have been a bit like that, and these other players, Freeman, and think Pulis' style of football. But what I've seen Pulis' style of football is lots of goals in one end and none in the other. And it's been enjoyable.
That's a recipe for success.
You know what I mean? It's been really good.
Yeah. Let us know, Borough fans, any ideas, thoughts, views. Get in touch with us. We'll have a chat about the meeting tonight with the lads. If you're happy with Balassi, Besic, who else might you like to come in? Some exciting names thrown in there. No mention there about players possibly leaving. I've heard today that Fletcher and Marvin Johnson have been linked with possible move to Hull City on loan.
I like you saying there. I mean, Marvin Johnson maybe, but I just think Tav. We could go on for this. And Fletcher, we've gone about them for ages. I mean, Tav made it. Had a debut against Bournemouth away, wasn't it, in the cup last year? And he followed up with a great goal, a good performance against Sunderland and get shipped out. You know, and you kind of feel, where does his kind of head be at? Now he started the season well. Fletcher for me is a Man United product. I mean, he can't be no slouch. I think he's just starting, as Guesty saying, it shows what he's got. Brilliant finisher at home in the week against when he scored 2 in the cup. Notts County 2 brilliant finishes, a 6-yard finish and a finish cool as you like from the edge of the box. The guy's talented. So as Guesty said there, I didn't see someone come in like a Balassi and Puncheon who can't get fit, and we sacrifice players that are fit who are playing well. I'd like to think that we can all, Pulis can manage the lot and get the squad buoyant, and then you've got a real competition then. And I'd like you said, I'd like to see Wing definitely keep his players
part of the squad,
because he's starting to do stuff, and that's the only way players players, confidence, all about confidence, we know. So.
Yeah. Well, if we take it back to last week, we had the cup games. Now, sometimes people say these early cup rounds, distraction, you're in a no-win situation. But to be honest, I felt a lot of positives came from that game last week against Notts County. I don't know what you think. What do you think of the positives, Guesty?
The first half was the most boring 2-2 first half I've ever sat through. You know what I mean? It was 4 goals. We weren't that good. You know what I mean? But on the plus side, when unfortunately Chapman went off, who was playing really well in the first half, when he went off, and the young kid came on, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Stephen Walker.
Stephen
Yeah,
Walker.
it's very exciting.
What a breath of fresh air that lad was.
Set up the second for Fletcher.
He was unbelievable. And Wood, when he so accomplished for a young man.
There's talent there, isn't there?
Definitely.
And people say these kids aren't good enough because they haven't had a chance. Well, I think that's more to do with the climate at the club in the last 2 seasons. Monk couldn't settle on 11. Bewley's picked 11 straight away and stuck with it. Now these kids are people saying, Chapman, well, you know, why has he gone out on the back? It happens in football, as we all know. Joe Bloggs can go here and be garbage, come back over here and he's lethal. Adam Johnson was a perfect example of that at Sunderland.
On the seniors on that one, we're just on about Marvin Johnson going out and he played out of his skin, Johnson. He had a really good game.
I was impressed with him.
And Ayala come back for an hour. You know, so it was all good.
Great positive for them, that with Ayala.
Thanks for getting in touch here. There's a lot of talk, people getting in touch in here, Nathan Lowther, about Ryan Gold coming in on loan, lad that went to Sporting Lisbon, didn't he? Was he? United. Apparently he's on his way in. So, I mean, I don't know about that.
I mean, he's another one of those players there's a real talent there. I mean, if he's going out when he's out on loan at places like that, that shows the guy's got ambition, or he's up for it because that's a cultural.
He was the next big thing in Scotland. He was at Dundee United. He played for their first team, and then Sporting Lisbon saw something, took him, and he's been out there I think for 2 years now. He's been in Portugal.
I mean, they're a big club, Sporting Lisbon. Whether they have been in the last few. I mean, you don't just get to go and play the club like. I mean, sure, there's a million Portuguese youngsters out there that you know that are talented, and if he's
technically you've got to be good to cut it over there.
Totally,
so he's got something there. Which again then goes in the face of the theory that Pulis doesn't like having players that are technically good, and he only wants certain types of players, grafters and hard workers. He's obviously looking to add a little bit of skill and a bit of finesse to this team as well.
Which is positive. You know, we want to entertain him, but as Guesty said, you know, we are getting entertained at the moment. There's no doubt about that.
The thing is, like you say, if Besic does turn up, I think most of the problems around these players' wages, it's how he's going to fit in with Howhausen and Clayton are playing because they're going to take some dislodging.
No, you're right. And fair play to Clayton, especially because he's had so much stick. And I've been one of them on him all the time because he was so slow backwards. And,
it's unbelievable.
You know, we're only talking about what we see. It's not negativity for the sake of it. This player now, when we bought him from Huddersfield, was brilliant. Played in a slightly more forward role, but if now he's looking, and there's no reason why he can't move forward and be forward from there. But if he's carried on the way he started, you can't take him out the team.
You'd have had to run a tank over him on Saturday.
Totally.
It was unbelievable.
Fair play to the guy, you know. That's shows the spirit of the guy, and I like that.
I like the way he's come back, and he must see the stick. He must see it from the stands. And he's came back this season and he's been, like you say, he's been one of our best players.
Player we should have maybe had 2 years ago from him, you know. But
it's maybe he's playing in a role. Maybe he's playing in a role now that he should have played in the Premier League instead of just being a water carrier.
Yeah, completely. And being he's good enough, so we'll put him in and see if he'll do a job there. And,
I don't know how true that is, Jack Allinson. Apparently Ledbitter's going the other way in the deal for Ryan Gold, but all joking aside,
Will he cut him all?
Is he going on holiday there, Paul? He must be on holiday.
All in package deals.
He's a Newcastle break, isn't it?
But what I will say about Ledbitter, what I thought last week was fantastic in his attitude. He was like an old sheepdog looking after the pups last week, and what I liked about him was he was getting amongst those young kids, and the example he set, he absolutely tore a strip off Tavernier at the end of the first half about something. And he even pointed towards the changing rooms at half time. He was going to have a word with him, and I think he's just saying, I might be another one who's going out of this club, but this is what you have to have. This is the attitude you have to have, no matter what the game is. This is what you do.
He's been a good servant.
Fantastic,
and he's like a George friend for me, where I will never just. I mean, although he's another one we've pointed out. He's not. If we need leaders in that team, and that's something we've missed as well, where someone will grab someone by the scruff of the neck, and if that's what we're going to have, then I'll keep him around the squad if he wants to do that, because I think that's the attitude, then
Yeah,
that's
that's
only
good.
positive
That's
for
only
everybody.
good.
Yeah. You know, and I'll endorse that all day long. Whether he wants to sit and play in the squad, I don't know.
See, there's been a lot of talk in football this week around club captains.
Yeah.
How, can't remember which team, they have 6 captains. Real Madrid, teams like that,
Yeah,
Barcelona,
yeah.
and like Manchester United now, Marine. You can't beat a club captain.
No.
For these players to go to the problems with,
No.
and for the manager to say, "Here, look, you go get them." So
He's the link, isn't he?
Yeah, you definitely need it, and I think Ledbetter does that role
Yeah.
really well.
I don't know how much he's got left in terms of, well, he's still obviously got something to offer on the pitch, but I think he's certainly the type of person you want involved in a coaching staff at your club. I think he will be a fantastic coach, and I think he'll probably go on after he's finished his playing days to be a good coach manager. You can see that in certain players that you know they're going to do that. I think he'll be one of them. Just going back to the cup game though, lads. Obviously there was just under 10,000 there last week. We've got Rochdale a week on Tuesday now. First of all, do you think that was a good draw? And what do you think the crowd will be for that match?
Excellent draw, like you say. It's been a while since we performed in the first round of this trophy. We managed to get to the start in the second round last year. So hopefully now people can see we're doing quite well. And obviously the pricing stays the same. I'd like to see maybe it's 15,000. I think the public will start to come back now, Jim.
Would you go with all the kids starting again to that Rochdale? Bear in mind it's Leeds 3 days later.
Yeah, and even if it wasn't like Guesty said about keeping the team that has got to play in the league against West Brom and Leeds, which I consider the league to start now on Friday. We've given ourselves a good base, and you know now we've got a real test. So I think they've earned that, and I think again it comes back to that if you were going to play well and then the manager drops you because it's a better team, or it's just another round, it's a bit for. I don't think that gives you any heart to want to put a performance in. So as Guesty said with the league team, I don't think anyone did anything wrong. And also for me, you know, I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's Notts County, but when you make 7 changes, no matter who you play, you haven't got relationships with people. Everyone's trying to find a way, and you still get a result. Big teams, Forest, Leeds straight through, you know, with better teams out, you know, against lower opposition. So I just think that it's all positive. And obviously, if these guys come in that we're talking about, it's a chance for them if they don't get a start in the league to get in that game and
it'd be good. He does have to start with the kids in that game because obviously that'll be the Tuesday night and we have the Leeds on the Friday night, so he's not going to be putting
no.
I'd
like to see Stephen Walker start
with these new signings coming, and definitely love to see Stephen Walker start.
Oh, definitely.
Because
there's just something about
he's
that.
He's got one cocky strut.
He's a talented guy, and that's what, like you said there. That's a good way to put it. He's got a strut, and he wants the ball. And you know, we say I know he's not. I know we've Traore is whatever Traore is, but it'd be nice to think that we've got a couple of players in the ranks coming through who want to be a bit of a showman with the ball.
Do you know what? I think as a club, we've produced so many young centre-halves. The odd midfielder,
definitely,
but we never seem to produce our own centre forwards. You could probably go as far back as Brian Clough being the last centre forward that Middlesbrough's produced that's gone on to have a real successful career.
I mean, that's a good one.
And I don't want to like put pressure on this young lad because he's just a young kid. But to have the confidence to come out on your first game at the Riverside as he did,
as a sub as well,
as a sub, you know, just straight in there, creating chances, getting involved. Yeah, he's
and
got something about him,
to step up in the way he took the penalty.
Because you know, penalties are penalties, aren't they? You know, really everyone can miss a penalty, and like you say, he's a kid at home in a cup game.
Well, Daniel Stevenson's very much into that. Daniel, about the young lads starting against Rochdale, especially likes of Walker, and I think that'll add to the crowd. I think Borough fans are willing to give these young lads a chance in games like this, and they want to go and see them because it's exciting. So, I definitely think Pulis should go that way next Tuesday.
Definitely.
But that's next week, lads. Saturday just gone. We're back at League duty at Bristol City. Probably one of the venues of one of our many away day capitulations last season. It was very different this year. Clinical performance, very professional, I think you would say, Guesty. What pleased you most about it?
That you couldn't pick a man of the match at the end of it.
Right.
First half, second, it's been happening quite a lot this season. Seems to be targeting Friend for his, because he has lost a little bit of pace. First half, the guy was torturing him a bit. Looked like he was running in sand or going backwards. But like you say, they all pulled together and they sorted it out. And George Friend, see, the topic of conversation after the game on Saturday, people are screaming that we need a new left back and a new right back. I couldn't see a better left back off right back than Shotton and Friend. in that championship
Shotton
this weekend.
Shotton Array is a right back, as we talked about before. He's been let off the hook now because he doesn't have to worry about what's going on with Traore where he has to be. And he's dribbling, he's taking people on, he's creating space, he's getting back to doing his job. Friend, I'd maybe disagree with slightly. I think maybe we need, I've heard Joe Ward maybe coming in, but I think we need competition there to see if Friend can stay at a level. But as you said, the team ethic covered him.
Yeah.
I just don't know whether against better players he might get found out a lot when that could be a bit of a weak point. But, you know, he's been a great servant, and, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing someone else in who's going to give competition and then they battle it out. I don't think he's finished, like a lot of people are saying, but I do think that we do need competition there, and I do think we need someone with a bit of pace, because there's a lot of pacey winners in this league.
We've got a lot of old heads in that team,
Yeah,
a lot of wise heads. And like we're saying there, a lot of leaders, and they're all pulling for each other.
Yeah.
We had a couple of passages of play in the first half where we passed from back to front, and it was absolutely brilliant.
It was nice.
It was one touch, there was movement, and there was thought. You know what I mean? And it was really
creating space. They were looking after each other.
We conceded a lot of possession to Bristol City, but
it's where you concede possession as well. That's a big thing.
They had absolutely nothing to wear us on. Like you say, I think twice to
got
the
bar
behind. That was in the second half. That's when second half we had a spell where we had 3 free kicks on the edge of the box from 82 minutes onward.
Yeah.
And all we done was game management. Didn't lob it into the box. We just kept the ball. And like you say, we're football fans, and you scream and get it in, in. But just game management. They went down and had a couple of pot shots at the bar twice. But
maybe this is the best bit of game management psychology we've ever seen from a Borough management, any Borough team. Going from the start of the season, because it was dire a month ago.
The perfect example is Foxy.
And now we are. Now
right. The perfect example is game management. We were beating Sheffield United 3-0 and we shut up shop. We were beating Bristol City 2-0, we shut up shop. Tony Pulis' ex-team, West Brom, were winning 3-1 and they ended up winning 7-1. If Pulis was manager of West Brom on Saturday,
it would
wouldn't have gone that far, would it?
So that's where we're at.
Which I do think, you know, like that doesn't happen very often now. I think the last time a team got beat 7-1, 6-1 in this league was Yeovil Norwich on the opening day of the season, and that was a shocking result anyway. That was a derby. It was all Paul Lambert then going to Norwich, and
that's right.
There was a whole. So I mean, Steve McLaren, I won't go into that, but you know, I'm probably going to be in a total minority when I say this, and I know I'm going off topic slightly, but I think the team he had at Borough, he got found out every other club he's been at, more or less. And I think that team could have achieved a slight bit more, maybe, because he's poor. They are a poor team. They're poor. So, but
don't worry about
I'm going off top. And all I'm saying is, you know, like Bessie's saying is, if we're good enough to sit back and defend teams and they can't get in, then 2-0 or 7-1 are in a way. But it might come down to goals scored in this league.
It could, but the main thing is get the points on the board.
We'll see on Friday, won't we? Perfect example to see whether our game management can contain their goals. So. It's an interesting one.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, Marlon. Michael Ingledew, he was at Bristol on Saturday, said Borough looked balanced, in control and enjoying their football. Even when we were under pressure, we never looked like conceding. I think it's a fair point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, some people have mentioned in some quarters, Foxy, about Pulis coming out and saying this team's not good enough to go. There's maybe a bit of reverse psychology. So, do you think there's anything in that, or do you think
I don't think he's saying side. I think he's saying squad.
I think he thinks his 11, the first 11's probably good enough to compete with most teams, as you're saying there. But I think that if all it takes now, for example, is a Braithwaite to get injured, or a Sombalonga while we're looking at it, and then where do you go? Yes, we've talked about the kids, but then we're throwing them in and expecting it's a long season. We need 16, 15, 16, 17 players who are all vying for a position, who all every week, every day in training. Who's he picking? It's a toss of a coin. So, and that's going to take that, as you said, this is a tough league.
On a Sombalonga and Braithwaite, they complement each other really well, and it's bringing the best out of Braithwaite and it's bringing the best out of the Sombalonga. Sombalonga looks a totally different player.
And I think
he looks even better than what he did at the start of last season when he was scoring.
And I think, as we've talked about, with Traore still in that team, we wouldn't see these relationships.
We wouldn't have seen the type of football we've been seeing because it's, like you say, there's so many different options now. It's not just.
I mean, the Wolves fans are calling Traore Stephen Hawking now. I don't know if you've seen that. He's got as much movement as saying, which we know as Borough fans, when he gets the ball to his feet, he's frightening, but he doesn't like space. He couldn't be any further away from him but a bit.
Do you think, in terms of Brit, do you think his performance have upped the level since Hugel's come in?
Yeah.
And obviously, I know he's a bit of a love him or leave him type of player in Guesty, but both of those lads are going to be fit. You know Pulis likes Guesty. He's brought Hugo in, so maybe some belongers feeling as though I've got to deliver it. And he's starting to produce a type of performances from a type of centre forward that Pulis wants. I think he's done that in the last couple of league games, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a grafter.
He's taken up positions all the way across the front line.
And he wants the ball.
It's not just, he wants the ball.
First time that he's actually had a striker that can play alongside him.
Possibly, Rob.
And that's proved that's how he's got.
Possibly,
Like
yeah.
just been seen. Yeah.
And
It's like to say they complement each other.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's something as well, just going back to Notts County when people have had a moan about 2-2 and, you know, this, that and the other. There's a perfect example, as you're saying, that these two have formed a relationship over the last month. You know, it doesn't just happen overnight, and it might have happened in training, and it's happened because other people have gone. And, you know, there's more of that to come in that team, I think. There's more, as you said, there's more relationships to form in there. And that's something now that you can't break up.
Yeah, and it's not something that sometimes is planned. It just happens. Like
Just
I say,
happens. Andy Cole's White York, you know, you never have thought
Guesty
that.
hadn't have got injured. Bamford wouldn't have got his chance last year. Now his season might not have changed as it did at that
We
point.
might have got 10 million for him.
The one thing I definitely think with Pulis is that he's prepared to give people opportunity to form a relationship with someone else if they get the game, and he'll stick with it.
Yeah.
And you know, Braithwaite was gone at the start of the season. We all thought
He still
was
might
gonna
be gone.
He might still be,
That's the
but
thing,
I hope
that
he
could
isn't,
have-
because like you said about
Like
bringing in loan players
I said
to get rid of loan.
Yeah.
Why swap it?
There's got to be people going out, because if
said-
we're led to believe that there's things in regards to Balassis on £70,000 a week, we won't be covering all of that, but we'll be covering a high percentage of that.
Yeah.
And so under financial
He's
fair
gotta
play,
play, he's
there's going to
gotta-
be some money that's going to have to go
Go
back
out.
out, isn't
Yeah.
there? So there's going to be someone like...
I mean, I know who could that be though, because I can't think of many people in that club. Maybe a Stewie Downing, you know, who were on big money.
Braithwaite will be one, won't he?
Braithwaite.
But I would
Braithwaite will be
you get rid of Downing over Braithwaite?
I don't know there'll be many takers for Downing because of his age and...
Sunderland would have him, I think.
Sunderland,
Yeah, but I think
He'd have to
Braithwaite...
move house.
And is that another reason why his performances have been so... I mean, he's
Not
always
because he's wanting to move, or cheap.
putting himself in the window a little bit, and you can't blame him. He's a professional.
Not at all.
It's his career.
It's his family,
Yeah.
it's his livelihood.
In the short term, it's helping us out, but like you say, the worry is it then disrupts us if he leaves in the next couple of weeks. But obviously, that's something we'll have to deal with if it happens. It may not happen, and I hope it doesn't.
I
but,
think so, yeah.
But that's where we're at with that. In terms of fixtures, I know we spoke at the start of the season about how we might do in the first 6 games. I did a little thing before the season started. I think I had us down to have 9 points after
Good
6
shout.
games.
Yeah.
We've already got 10 after 4.
Yeah.
So we're a point ahead of that with 2 games to go. Are you surprised by the start we've had to the season?
After the first 70 minutes
Yeah,
against
Millwall.
Millwall,
Yeah.
it's been an absolute unbelievable. To go from what that
was
you were
appalling.
there,
Yeah.
to go from what we were watching,
Yeah.
Shotton, he had his boots on the wrong feet. he could not do nothing right
Yeah,
that
the
lad
Mr.
that
Tumble
day.
boots on,
That went right back through pre-season.
Yeah.
as well.
Well, he right, pre-season was appalling.
Yeah, it
And-
wasn't good.
Pre-season was exactly Millwall.
I was talking to
Yeah.
I was talking to a club member of staff on Saturday, and he came out and he said, "What's that all about? Unbelievable." And we, like you say, we started discussing what happened pre-season and what happened at Millwall, and the transformation from George Friend scoring that equaliser against Millwall to now.
Yeah.
No one's seen that
What a
coming.
crazy sport this is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
I know after the last show that I did with you lads a couple of weeks ago when we were at the barrage, I think the night after was the Sheffield United game, and I had 1 or 2 people come up to me before the game going, "What's the crack, lads? You were a bit negative last night."
Yeah.
And I said, we weren't trying to be negative, we were trying to be positive. But I think at the time, there was a lot of, I think fans were a little bit downbeat going to that first game.
You know, with Sheffield United, they haven't lost anybody, and they've brought in Egan.
Yeah.
You know, there've been a couple of good signings, Woodburn that we talked about and stuff,
Yeah.
and I genuinely thought that would be a tough game. Now, I think in hindsight, now as you've mentioned with the points, Bristol City's another one. Millwall, we've gone over, but Sheffield United and Bristol City for me were flying last year. It's definitely before Christmas, and I think the expectations of their own fans and what's in the club has ruined them a little bit, because I think Sheffield United were appalling, to be honest.
Yeah, they were.
And when we got at them though, we didn't give them a chance to breathe.
I felt they were never going to hit the heights what they hit last
No.
season, Fox.
No.
Sheffield and Bristol, because you could see towards the end of last season, their legs were going.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you say, it's going to be real difficult for both sides.
Unless they invest heavily, which
Yeah,
they weren't
which-
going to do.
no.
So I don't know whether it's been a true reflection of,
Well, we know
of where we're at now.
Bristol's chairman is investing heavily, just not in the players.
Well, they've got a nice stadium, haven't they, and all the
he's in-
facilities
What's he
there.
doing, the academy? And
Yeah, he's doing around that.
I mean, they
stadium,
have got
so-
some good kids coming through when you go and look at it. They are not ready for a season maybe, but it's expectations. The thing is here for us is the expectations from what we expected when after the Millwall game we thought, here we go, no signings, we were looking for maybe scrape the playoffs. To teams like that who were expecting more, and now it's reversed completely where we're thinking, hang on a minute.
So years ago,
it ruins clubs.
And like you say, I'll go back years ago. You never used to see a league table till October.
Yeah,
November.
you didn't want to. There was no
you know
point.
What I mean?
10 games.
There was none of this lines for Europe.
Yeah. 10
games.
Relegation.
You never used to see it. You know, even in.
Used to look till Christmas.
Well, that's a true indication.
Even in the
right
sports
though.
gazette, they never used to put a table.
No,
in,
it's right.
You know, and like you see the table now, and what is it? 4 games in.
4 games, yeah.
And you see us. Yeah. And it does look good when you sat on the top of that table.
It definitely does.
Somebody has to sit there.
They do.
And it's
I
at this moment in time, it's us.
We have, but they all play tomorrow and Wednesday, don't they? But it's kind of like it must do as a player to maybe think now and again when you're looking at this thing, all right, it's 4 games, but you know, it's got to be a bit of a, like you say, a bit of a confidence, as it is when you're looking at the bottom of the table thinking, QPR fans.
Pressure builds, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
3 clean sheets in a row now in the league.
Yeah.
Again, which is what you would expect from a Tony Pulis side. It doesn't happen by accident.
No, Randolph's been outstanding as well.
Randolph, I know one of our viewers earlier.
He pulled off a couple of worldies again on Saturday.
Yeah, I think he's a good shot stopper. I just think he gets a lot of unnecessary sticks, but he's not a commanding keeper. How many commanding keepers are there unless you pay 70 million for a Black from, Madrid, Atletico Madrid, or a De Gea, or whoever you want, a Courtois. I mean, keepers being commanding is it's not the way it used to be when you had a Peter Schmeichel coming out. Or
there's not many that are very, very vocal. Now.
That's a thing,
yeah, like you say, Schmeichel was very much vocal, organising. Darren Randolph doesn't strike you as that.
No, you
but
don't.
He's
confidence comes through doing things
he's
like that.
He's good at Ireland as well.
So obviously, talked about Bristol City now. I think there's 2 big battles ahead though, the next 2 league games. Especially first of all this Friday, one up beyond that first of all. West Brom, we've got 11 goals in the last 2 league games. And obviously there's also the Tony Pulis side of things as well. So obviously, do you think that's going to have any sort of influence on the game? The fact that he seemed to leave under pretty difficult circumstances. With regards to their fans, they weren't happy about what he was doing there. Still got relegated under Alan Pardew.
I've been a critic of Tony Pulis from day one because I didn't enjoy the way we were going to play, and I'm not going to start going on about that. We start the season, you're positive. I like what we're doing. I like what he's trying to do. I think, as we've mentioned on here a few times, he's maybe been hoodwinked a little bit by the club, although it looks like they're coming good. I think with West Brom, when you look into it really, they had 11, 12, was it? First team players when we've talked about this. First team players out of that squad. 15. And he, as you quite rightly said, Pardew got him sacked with over half a season, got him relegated with half a season to go on a transfer window. So I think he's been unfairly done, and I think this window showed that a bit. He's been unfairly done a little bit. So I don't think that West Brom fans really had a true context of what was going on at that club, because if it was him, Pardew would have kept them up.
The thing is with Pulis, with you looking at your Stoke, your Crystal Palace,
and
your
he was
West
brilliant
Brom,
at Palace.
You look at the problems them 3 clubs have had when he left. Palace were near, what did they start last season?
He won manager of the year at Palace.
Palace, they were awesome. They were down in dead with 3 months.
These games last season were the must-win games. When Monk was here, these are the games we failed in. These are the games where we didn't get a point from.
That's right.
So Friday, it's our first big test. So hopefully it's going to be different under Monk.
To play a threat.
He knows these players at West Brom, but he knows what he wants from our 11.
I mean, they scored 4 at Norwich on the opening day. That was a ding-dong game. It proved that they're going to concede goals. I could see it either be 4 or at 1 because we're tight, but it'd be high scoring. I think 2-1 Borough could be a realistic result for me.
If they're a bit weak at the back, we'll exploit that.
Yeah, they let 3 in against Norwich.
Jacob and people like that. They're not the fastest at the back.
They let 2 in at home to Bolton. Lost at home to Bolton, 2 on a low Bolton. They confine the critics a bit this season.
Good keeper in Foster.
But when you look, I don't want to spoil your preview ahead of the game,
no,
but obviously they've got some real threats up front.
Jay Rodriguez, for example, who's come back from nowhere.
He's came back from a bad injury. And he's
you put Dwight Gale in there as well, then Matt Phillips as well also. These are players that on their day when they're fit, frighten any squad. Any
Jay Rodriguez do a job in the Premier League.
Totally.
Jay Rodriguez was on the... Well, he was an England player until he got injured. You know what I mean? Which was tragic for the lad.
Totally, talented player. So I just think this is the perfect time to gauge yourselves, because I think even if it goes, I won't swear, but even if they came and pummeled us, which I can't see, was there enough in the season left to get your head together, get your loan signers in, go back there and...
But again, if we get a positive result on Friday, then it just sends the confidence even higher.
Definitely.
And if there's new players in that squad as well on Friday, and if they're involved or even if they're on the bench, because I don't know, we're at Monday now, so we're going to Friday. I don't know if any of the lads will actually start. I would be loath to change that team on Friday.
Too.
I would want to keep the lads that won at Bristol on Saturday.
Get them in the bench, get them on the bench, get them ready for it. Maybe but as you said. Why change it when it's not broken?
Yeah.
Like you say, Pulis doesn't like change.
No,
we saw that last year, didn't we?
Towards the end of last season, we think, please change it, please. And he just kept going with the same 11. Obviously, Guesty got injured. Then it was the same 11 with Bamford. And he managed to get us to the playoffs, so...
I mean, there's a few interesting subplots, as well as the Pulis thing. I know Chris Cassidy's referred to one there. Thanks, Chris. Hal Robson-Carno's been linked with the Borough, Matt Phillips.
Yeah.
These are all West Brom players.
Yeah.
And they're all linked with us ahead of the game against West Brom. I mean, I don't know if there'll be business between the two clubs ahead of Friday's game when there's still another week to go in the loan window. James Morrison,
I don't think they want to lose anyone either now, especially after Saturday's demolition, even though that was maybe a freak result. I think they now know they've got firepower. And I think Darren Moore's still... the jury's out with him slightly, as you said there. Bolton beat them at home.
The fans love him, but how good is he?
How good is he tactically? Exactly. He's got where he's got for winning a few games when they went down at the end of the season last year. And as you said, the fans love him. So who were they going to go with? Who else was out there? You know.
He's not no Benitez, is he?
No, but as you've said, as he tactically got the nous to go. We've conceded 3 at Norwich, 1. We've got beaten all the Bolton, then we've demolished a poor QPR team. What's he got in the locker for us? Is he going? Are they the type of team that would shut up shop at Borough, or would they come and have a go?
I think they'll have a go.
I think they'll have a go. I don't think he's got it in him to sit back.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting start to the Championship season. When you look at it, the results, Leeds have gone off like a train.
Yeah, what they did last year.
Yeah, and that's it. And I don't know.
I think there's more about them this year.
Yeah, we'll talk about them obviously a lot more next week's programme ahead of the game with them. Swansea are up there, Villa. One that we didn't mention, I don't think, a couple of weeks
Swansea
back.
got bad at Birmingham, did they? Friday, but they didn't get...
He's got a point.
I mean, it was ridiculous, that.
Yeah.
They're going down for me, Birmingham. I hate to say it, Birmingham fans, but if you can have that many shots and not beat a team 1-0 at home...
You know,
they've got two players. They're injured. They've had it.
And I think a team that we didn't mention, none of us mentioned, I don't think, was Brentford.
They're 10 points.
Play some really good stuff as well.
Yeah. They're just one of those teams in the Championship.
And
they're always there or there.
Always, and they keep producing decent players. They get picked off
and keep picking new players.
Seems to be strikers, as you mentioned, with centre backs with Borough. They seem to produce a lot of good strikers.
Very good
and Egan went, like we say, to Sheffield.
So it's just a Championship as normal, isn't it? You know, you can't really guess what's going to happen.
As we know, as Borough fans, as we've just said.
But the thing is, with the Championship, once you were up there, and as we've seen with teams in the past, like last season Cardiff, you can lose a few, then win a couple, and you're back up there. And once you were in that mix, you were staying there all season. Do you know what I mean?
And there's a team we haven't mentioned yet who are very surprised that Aston Villa. They've got a hell of a squad, and if they can somehow manage to get it together this year, there's another frightening team.
Together by the end of next week.
Because we're only potentially going to lose players on loan, which I can't see. I can't see any of their top players going anywhere else. So as you said, but they were another one last year who got shot down, and then you've got teams in there like Forest who've kind of just
big investment.
They're not really.
Yeah, I tipped Forest at the start of the season, but they haven't got off hit the ground, have they?
No. But like I say, it's a long season, long way to go. Predictions for Friday. Then, what do you reckon's going to happen on Friday?
Legend.
Never got one right ever. Never got one right ever. Like you say, the way things are going, I'm going to go a 3-2 Borough win.
Loads of goals. I'll entertain the viewing public watching that one.
I nearly got Bristol City right for once. I said 2-1. I'm 1-1, I'm 2-1, 3-1. Oh God! I'm just why not? I don't know why Borough couldn't score 3 past them, but they'll score. I think 2-1 Borough.
That'd be great result.
And I'd like to see it being Britton Braithwaite again, or maybe Fletcher getting a goal, a wing. Downing obviously he's playing well. I've been a harsh critic of him. I wouldn't mind him getting on the score sheet again. But win. I don't see why it couldn't be a win. Nothing to fear.
Nothing at all.
But at worst, probably a 1-all.
Yeah.
If that's a poor Borough performance.
So what are you going for?
I'm going to go 2-1.
Oh, wait, well, I'll take the 1-1. I'll take the 1-1. I think I think they're still.
He's just been round to stopping nicely. You come back round that one.
While they've got all the players they've got, the squad that they've got, I think it's going to be a really difficult game Friday night, and a draw wouldn't be the end of the world.
No,
Keeps
not
the
at all.
momentum going.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to see a score draw though.
Yeah.
Because we've struggled against teams above us, as we were talking about there last season.
Yeah.
These are a team that are going to be up there. I'd like to see us be able to break teams like that down.
Yeah.
You know,
The thing is, we've gone 270 minutes now without conceding.
Yeah.
which is
Absolutely
why
brilliant.
can't
So
that's a great start, yeah.
that's a strength. So, like you say,
Well, like as you said about Millwall after that farce, who'd have thought we'd have gone and not conceded goals in the next 3 games? You wouldn't have believed it.
No, you wouldn't have.
Notts County doesn't count because it was changed cup game, but the league is where we're bothered.
well, Notts County Pulis had the grandkids out, didn't he?
He did, so you don't, just to get the results are good, whatever that would be.
Yeah, it just keeps everything moving in the right direction, doesn't it?
3-all, sorry, wasn't it? 3-all, not 2-all.
Yeah. Well, great stuff. Well, lads, I think time's caught up with us for this evening.
Flies,
That's your taxi there, Foxy. Thanks for joining us this week, everybody out there. Don't forget Foxy's preview later this week, ahead of the clash. Guesty and AJ will be at the Riverside Stadium on Friday, both before and after the game, so catch up with them there. Like Stephen Allen, everybody else out there, thanks for watching tonight and joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to us and like us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Until next week, everybody, thanks again for watching.
Cheers,
Up the
guys.
Borough.
Up the Borough. Peace out. Red Army.
Green Army.